중국의 내수 시장이 어떻게 성장해 왔는지, 그리고 그 성장이 우리나라의 어떤 경로를 통해 얼마만큼의 영향을 주어왔는지에 대해서는 이해가 부족했던 것이 사실입니다. 그래서 본 보고서에서는 중국 내수를 상품별로 나누고 각 상품의 내수 성장률 변화가 국내 산업의 성장에 미치는 영향을 글로벌 가치 사슬의 관점에서 분석해 보았습니다.
This study examines the impact from the increase in China's domestic final demand on the growth of Korean industries, attempts to predict how China's structural change will affect the industrial growth pattern, and presents policy implications. Firstly, let's examine how the growth of Korean industries will be affected by the growth in China's domestic final demand. China's domestic demand increased tenfold from 1995 to 2014, jumping from 6 trillion to 62.3 trillion yuan. To understand this remarkable growth, China's domestic demand was divided into 4 product categories: non-durable goods, durable goods, utilities and construction, and services. The demand by category shows that non-durable goods account for the largest share in 1995 and the smallest in 2014, while the opposite is true for durable goods. Then, what impact will this growth trend have on Korea's GDP? Our estimates find that from 1995 to 2014, the impact from a 1% increase in China's domestic final demand would be more severe for Korea, regardless of the product category. However, the level varies across the board, with the impact from the demand for durable goods surging 11-fold. Next, to examine the impact on Korea's industries and economy as a whole, the actual growth rate of China's domestic final demand by product in 2014 was applied to the estimation model. The results show that Korea's GDP would increase by 0.61% at the aggregate level in 2014. This would account for 18.5% of the year's real GDP growth rate of 3.3%. Notably, computers and electronic devices would increase by more than 2%, and electrical equipment and petrochemical products by more than 1%, which is relatively higher than other industries. In short, we find that the growth in China's final demand was mainly driven by the demand for durable goods until 2014, and this resulted in Korea's heavy and chemical industries benefiting the most, thanks to a tight production network. But China is currently faced with the dual problem of slowing economy and a changing industrial structure, in which growth in the services industry has exceeded that of the secondary industry. This, however, is not uncommon. In fact, many countries in the past have experienced a decline in the share of the secondary industry as GDP per capita reaches a certain level. And considering China's current economic structure and income level, a similar phenomenon will also be likely. Then, how will China's service-based structural shift affect Korea's industrial growth pattern? In order to predict how the shift will affect industries in Korea, the growth rate in China's total domestic demand was set at 6%, while a different rate was applied for each industry. For example, services at 7% and durable goods at 6%. Under this scenario, Korea's GDP at the industrial level would stall at 0.39%, pointing to a decrease of 0.22 percentage point compared to 2014, with the heavy and chemical industries exhibiting a particularly larger decline than other industries. Indeed, if China experiences a simultaneous slowdown in domestic demand as well as servitization, not only will it deal a heavy blow to the overall growth of Korea's industries, but its key industries, whose growth has been largely attributed to China's strong demand, will be hit particularly hard.
중국 내수 시장의 성장 속도 둔화와 구조적인 전환이 동시에 진행되면 최근에 대두되고 있는 국내 중화학공업의 공급 과잉 문제가 앞으로는 더욱 심각해질 수 있다는 것을 의미합니다. 따라서 산업일선에서는 사업구조 재편과 같은 선제적인 대응을 추진하고, 정책 담당자들은 중국 경제의 구조 변화에 우리 기업들이 좀 더 근본적인 대책을 마련하도록 인센티브를 제공해 주는 것이 필요하다고 봅니다.